Salutations, dear viewers. This is George from Ireland, and this video is about the unethical behaviour of Sean Hannity. You may know that Sean Hannity is a shock jock for Fox News, occasionally masquerading as a journalist. He's been spewing out invective at Robert Mueller recently. He's an absolutely entrenched defender of Donald Trump, though he didn't used to be, was fairly critical of Trump before Trump got the Republican nomination. It was staggering and dispiriting to see Hannity constantly railing at the FBI investigation into Donald Trump and saying it was a witch hunt and this is a runaway train, it's gone off the rails, things like that. So he was fulminating against a criminal investigation, against the law taking its course. And he's a Republican, Mueller, appointed by a Republican president, all the rest of it, and having to get various other search warrants. So it's entirely legal. And on no grounds whatsoever, Hannity was being grossly insulting again Mueller and really attacking the FBI outright. Funny this, because Hannity, a Republican, used to be very pro-law enforcement. The police in the United States shoot almost 1,000 people every year. Now, occasionally the police are right to shoot somebody, but there are other times when they are wrong to shoot someone. When unarmed black people get shot dead by the police, where's Hannity then? He never has a word to say about that in criticism. He's very pro-law enforcement when it comes to that sort of thing. But when a white billionaire has his lawyer's office searched, suddenly it's an outrage and civil liberty has been torn up, according to Hannity. So Sean Hannity was blindly loyal to George W. Bush, but as soon as George W. Bush had retired, Hannity monstered Bush for not being a proper conservative. There's also psychological projection going on here when Hannity accuses others of being unfair and disloyal and so forth, when that's what he is, of being unpatriotic, when he's being unpatriotic in not upholding the integrity of his country's institutions. And he's simply supplying junk food to the wilder reaches of the far right. What you see is cumulative radicalization. He's got to outshock the shock jocks like Rush Limbaugh, and he's become his own brand on Fox News by turning up the rhetoric, and that's why it reaches a ludicrous level. So Hannity, he's a journalist, and then he says he's not a journalist. He does say news on the screen when he's saying things. I'm not sure I can call it reporting the news. He says he was not a Cohen client and that he was a Cohen client, that he never paid fees and that he did pay fees. So you can see why he likes Trump, because he's a serial liar himself, constantly contradicting himself. Cohen's lawyers claimed that Hannity was one of their clients. Hannity himself said, I may have given $10 and asked for legal advice, and I definitely wanted a lawyer-client relationship, yet claimed that he wasn't a client, he didn't pay fees. May have paid $10 or not. He's not going to be clear about that. It doesn't matter whether it was a cent or $1 million, it's still paying a fee. So Hannity cannot have it both ways. He doesn't strike me as a philosopher, but he is redolent of that Schrodinger's cat paradigm. So Hannity is both a client and not a client at the same time. There's doublethink going on here, and Hannity is curiously Orwellian. So Hannity would like this ambiguity to be interpreted in whichever way is most advantageous to him at that particular moment, because it keeps changing what would suit him more. It's grossly unethical. It is a lie of omission. He did not declare an interest. Now, I don't object to him spewing out his deranged pro-Trump bile. Of course, he has a legal right to do that. I wouldn't seek to put him off the air, but he does terrible discredit to Fox News by being there. He undermines his cause by being so dishonest. This is called a lie of omission, which is something very pertinent. When he's involved in this tangential way, he ought to say that. He interviewed Michael Cohen many times this show, nothing wrong with that, but all he had to do was simply say, and by the way, he's my lawyer too. Hannity is very religious, and he wears that on his sleeve, almost as though that gives him a certificate of morality. He's very judgmental but not when it comes to himself. And he's attacked others for doing exactly what he's done, which is not declaring an interest. And of course, when other people do it, those of a different political ilk, they also should be castigated for doing what they do, which is withholding something which is very relevant to the issue they're discussing on television. This is proof yet again that Fox has no ethics and is a very mendacious channel.